you guys. Welcome to the Loans Can Be Fun podcast. We have a special guest today, Scott Nilsson with SLN Financial. He's up in Brigham. Whoop, whoop. So we're super excited to have him. I've actually known Scott probably a year now, I'm thinking.
A little over.
Maybe a little over a year.
Yeah,
An amazing
almost 2.
financial planner. And so we're going to do a couple segments with him. So, tune in and keep listening to this because these are things that you need to know, whether it's for you or whether for your folks or grandparents and things like that. So I want to start out with kind of tell us your history, what got you into financial planning, and why you are better than others. This is your chance.
I'm different than others, for sure. No, I like to jokingly say that maybe it's not so much a joke that 90% of my industry make the other 10% of us look bad.
Oh, that's yeah.
That's
how
very
ours
true.
is too.
Yeah.
Right. And I got into this later in life. So I have a certain maturity that doesn't, often show itself. And a diversity in background. I'm not just from the financial services channel directly.
Yeah.
I've managed businesses and so forth.
So I think that actually gives you an advantage, though, in my opinion, because you know what most people go through.
Yeah, no, we can relate to most circumstance for sure.
Yeah.
So the job I was doing before getting into financial planning was actually selling prepaid funeral plans.
Yeah.
I worked for Lincoln Heritage Life Insurance Company, and they provided a product to funeral homeowners to fund their funeral plans because interest rates were falling. The trustee fees for a traditional trust account were greater than the interest being earned, so it wasn't really a workable solution. So life insurance was the alternative.
Yep.
And so I covered the better part of 8 Western states, and it's a pretty straight up transaction.
Yeah.
You would, visit with older people, right?
Hopefully.
Retirees-ish, and because they're trying to put all of their affairs in order.
Yep.
And you'd say, well, you're mortal, right? Yeah. Did you want to be a burden on your children? No. So why don't we just at least put your wishes down in writing? That all by itself will save your kids hours of anxiety and stress over what
fighting.
should we choose.
Yep.
And you're probably curious what all these things would come to. Here's the total. Did you want to pay cash for that, or can I show you the payment options? And they would either pick one or tell me a sad story that was usually preceded by the words, well, my agent, my broker, and then something bad happened and they lost a bunch of their retirement nest egg, and they were happy to get groceries every month. They certainly didn't want to spring for a
and that's
casket.
not, that is such a bad situation to be in.
Yeah, and I'm kind of a slow learner, so I was leaving those appointments for years saying, oh my gosh, who's advising these people? I could do a better job than that. Until one day it clicked, oh, you know what? I totally could do a better job than that. And I started looking into it further and discovered that, these people that were saying they were financial planners, financial advisors, really weren't. They were insurance agents or they were stockbrokers that were kind of embarrassed about what they were doing to people and were trying to make it sound better than it was.
And they probably hadn't passed all the tests that they needed to.
No, they hadn't. And we could go into stories there, but we won't. But I could name names of people who have died in prison recently, but
I kind of want to hear.
Man.
I know, right? So karma's real.
Yeah. I hope so. Oh, man, I hope so.
Anyway, and looking into stuff, and then, my parents reached a certain age where managing their own affairs was more than they could actually handle. And I was their only son and oldest and closest, and so we started taking over their bills and looking through things. And they were, typical older generation that never threw anything away.
Yeah.
And I got to look through some of their stuff, and with an economics background and some financial understanding, recognized that when Dad sold the farm, they got poor tax advice from their CPA, poor investment advice from the bank, poor insurance advice from several agents, one of whom I got to go visit with and kind of call him on it. And
It's horrible.
Here I am.
The
So
sad thing is that happens way more
Way too
than it
much.
should. I mean, it shouldn't happen at all,
Way
but it
too
happens
much.
a lot.
way too much. And so,
Will you tell them a little bit about your designations and what those mean as far as your
Sure.
training?
so with the caveat, we aren't giving any advice.
Yes. Oh, yeah. We have to do our disclaimers. This is not a commitment to lend. This does not apply to you directly. Do yours.
Yeah, we are strictly talking for educational and entertainment
entertainment
purposes.
purposes.
We're not giving advice to you. You should not act on any of this advice
Yes.
without first consulting with your financial professionals and making sure it applies to your direct circumstance. But
Ditto.
retirement has a different set of rules than while you're saving and putting away for retirement.
True.
While you're putting money away for retirement and doing all of that, you're concerned with two things. You're concerned with a rate of return. You want to see your money grow. It's all growth. And you want to protect your income because that's your biggest asset when you're starting out. It's your earnings potential. But in retirement, that rate of return is not as big a deal. It's really how much income can this generate,
True.
right? It's a very different matter. And furthermore, the old tried and true adages, buy and hold, have a good diversified portfolio,
Yeah.
no longer are the things that count the most. It's how much income can this generate for the rest of my life? Am I going to outlive my money? Is the biggest fear most retirees have.
Yep.
And
And I think the
so-
sad truth is that the answer is, you are going to outlive most of your money. At least most Americans are not prepared.
No, not using traditional, conventional
Retirement.
thinking. So I have a Series 65 securities license, which requires me to be a fiduciary.
Maybe tell people what a fiduciary is, because I'm not sure everyone knows that word.
So, okay, so it's handy for Scrabble, but then besides that, it means simply that I have to do what's best for my clients. I have to document it, and I do get audited. The SEC does an
It's
audit.
crazy to me that they would have to specify that, because in my mind and in our business, you should just do what's best for your client. But you kind of somehow have to compel people to do that.
Well, I mean, let's face it,
It's money.
you can't really legislate morality. So the government is they're making another run at a best interest rule. The Department of Labor is got some things pending right now. But at the end of the day, you can't legislate morality. People
true.
ought to just do what's right for people just because, and we've always attempted to do that.
Right.
And then as far as designations, I have my, what do we call it? The Retirement Income Certified Professional, RICP designation.
That's the reason that we actually met, because we do reverse mortgages, and I reached out to Scott because that's not a designation that all planners have.
Yeah.
There's
Very
very
few.
few that have that. So he's
Specialized.
actually, he is specialized. He has extra training to help people that are in retirement or, trying to get there.
Yeah. And so the registered investment advisory business model, that's only about 10% of the industry. Most of
Yep.
the rest of the industry is on the broker-dealer model. Then the RICP designation narrows that even further. And then in addition to that, on the insurance side of the ledger, I have my certified long-term care designation and National Social Security Advisor designation.
And I'm telling you, I've known Scott for over a year. He's incredibly smart. He knows his stuff. He teaches it and does presentations up at Weber
Yeah.
State and different things. He knows his stuff. So I would 100% recommend him.
No, I appreciate that
Yeah.
very much. No, I just hate hearing sad stories when it's too late to do anything about it. Breaks my heart. It
'Cause you
just
can't
tears
fix
me
it.
up. Yeah, so many things with retirement decisions. It's a one-off deal. Like you claim your Social Security. Yeah, technically you can have one do-over, but it has to be within a year of the claim. You have to repay all of the benefits you received during the year in order to have a do-over.
Just so hard.
So a lot of misconceptions around Social Security. We could do a whole podcast
Yeah.
on that.
And we might.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, Medicare. That's as we're recording this, it's annual enrollment period, and that's a whole craziness.
Which we're in November as we're recording this.
Yeah, that's a whole craziness by itself. A lot of misconceptions surrounding Medicare.
And we are going to do an episode on that. So if you want information on that, definitely look for that on our page.
And what else? We talked reverse mortgages.
Yep.
A lot of people have some really strong feelings about those in the negative
Yes, they do.
sense. But I will tell you that my parents were blessed to have gotten one. It allowed them to stay in their home longer.
I love that you say the word blessed because that's how I feel about them. When I help people with them, I know that I'm doing good.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm making their lives better.
Yeah, and used correctly, they can be a tremendous tool. We have several clients we've referred your way, and I just talked to one the other day. They're just about to close, and she is so thrilled because
she
of
gets
what's
her money
been
today.
done. So, no, it's a huge thing. Investing, again, it's a different set of rules once you retire.
So the moral of the story is you need to start planning now. And I mean, you hope that it's never too late. It is for some people. We get that. But the sooner you talk to Scott, it's one of those things that he can set you on the right path to make sure that you can retire, that you don't have to eat cat food, or sell all your stuff. And he knows which direction. So we wanted to introduce him, and we're going to go on to a couple other series on that, on different topics so that you can learn more about the nitty gritty. So we're going to dig
outs.
deep. Did you have any questions before we go on to some of those?
I think mine are more specific to other types because with most of my generation, by the way, I'm older than I look, but still,
He's not.
it's
I'm just kidding.
retirement is not something that my parents even knew about, and it wasn't talked about in school. So like a lot of my generation needs some education, and I really hope that
In a big way.
that
That
we help
reminds me.
get the word out because I don't know what I'm doing.
No, so one of the things that we're affiliated with is a nonprofit called SOFA, SOFA, the Society for Financial Awareness, because America is, by and large, very financially illiterate. And as a result, they make many decisions without having all of the critical facts. And they sponsor several things. So for people who have their own businesses or HR directors, we have like 30 different lunch and learn mini little classes we can come in and talk to your employees on their breaks. We also put on at least 2 series of retirement classes at Weber State a year.
So
6 hours worth of material. Things are different than they used to be. My parents' generation was a completely different
plan
retirement program than what we see today. And
probably
for
covered a
folks-
lot through pensions and through their companies
Yeah.
and things
Yeah,
of
like,
that nature.
Yeah.
Is Social
They didn't
Security
have
going to
to
be
save.
around
Yep.
when I
Yeah.
retire?
Yep.
And then
all
for the
that.
younger folks, Social Security, it's really a hot topic. Will it be there and what's going to happen? And I think a lot of people make their Social Security claiming decisions today improperly out of fear that it's just going to go away all of a sudden. I don't see that happening. Will there be an adjustment? Yeah, if Congress doesn't do something. And of course,
Yeah.
Congress is really good at not
Doing things.
doing things.
Yeah, absolutely. You're preaching to the choir on that one here.
So, but still, it's best to be armed with facts. And so, a classic movie that kind of illustrates that point would be National Lampoon's.
When he's planning on his
Normal
Christmas bonus.
Vacation?
Is that the one?
Well, their vacation where.
Well, the first one.
Family vacation.
Wally World?
We're going to Wally World,
Yeah.
right? Now,
Wally
of course,
World.
how did it end?
I don't remember.
They go through all of
Oh,
that.
yeah, and then it's
And it's
closed.
been closed, all
Yeah.
right? That's a critical fact.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it have been better had they known that before they left the
yeah.
driveway?
Yeah.
or failing that, anywhere along the journey. That's what we want to do for people in retirement. We want to help them know
if their Wally World is closed.
That's
Wally World
closed.
is still available.
Let's look at this other thing, find that out first.
Okay, so how do people get in touch with you?
They can go to our website, which is AskScottNelson.com.
And it's Nelson.
Yeah, we're working on that. We were talking earlier, we probably need to rebrand.
Yeah.
They can call our office at 435-723-3370. Our process is pretty simple. We do 3 free consultations. Why? Well, first, we don't know if our personalities are going to clash or not.
Right.
You might just not like me, and that's okay.
That's hard to believe, but
it's
if
okay.
You tell people,
we're not for everybody. It's all right.
Same here.
Some people don't like truths. So
yeah, it's true.
and
is hard
second,
sometimes.
I don't know if there's anything I can do to help you. So it's a discovery session. We're simply seeing, where are you? What are your goals? What do you have to work with? Where do you want to get to? Can we help you along the path? And if not, we'll just tell you. Maybe you've already got everything all set up perfectly and there's nothing more for us to do, in which case...
And I know you would tell them that.
I would.
So most people come into your office, or do you do Zooms? Or
we do Zoom, yeah.
Okay.
In spite of the gray hair, I can pull off a Zoom meeting.
He's tech savvy, you guys. So that's what I wanted to check, because, we're down here near Ogden, and, we have clients all the way from Utah County up, but if they can get to you on Zoom, then that's awesome.
Yeah, no, we have clients in Texas, Arizona, Nevada, California, Idaho, Utah,
Awesome.
Wyoming, Virginia, and South Dakota.
That's awesome.
But the majority of our clients are somewhere between Farmington and Malad, Idaho.
Okay.
To, full disclosure. But Zoom meetings can be done.
Yeah.
If
I love face-to-face for a lot of things, but it's nice to have that option, especially because all my file stuff's at my house. So if I forgot to bring something, I can hurry and go find it. But
we're attempting to go digital. Our friend
Yeah.
Ethan is helping us to become much better in that regard. But
Yep.
no, 3 free consultations. Let's visit.
That's a lot.
Let's see what you're trying to do, where you at. We'll talk in generalities. If you're comfortable and you want to take the next step, and you don't have to, but if you did, the next step would be to gather your data. Statements, tax returns, Social Security estimates, pension benefits, life insurance, long-term care policies, everything that you've got in that regard, we gather that up. And we've got 3 different computer models, because I haven't found one that does everything the way I need it to. So we're mushing them together. We then will show you at our 3rd meeting, which is kind of a solutions discussion. Here are the options that we see to get you where you want to go and what would need to be done to do it.
To accomplish it, yep.
That's always going to trigger... Well, okay, not always, but most of the time it's going to trigger, I forgot to tell you about
this one thing.
And then there's this other thing, and what about this, So it's a collaboration. It's not me saying, well, you have to do it this way. My job is to help you reach your goals and to have you feel good about it. So it's wonderful if it sounds good in concept, but it's best when it also is backed up with math.
Yep.
Sometimes we hear things that sound great conceptually, but the math doesn't support it.
Yep, absolutely.
And then at that point, then there's a decision to make. Do we want to work with Scott or not? And yes is okay, no is okay. But then we would go ahead and begin our engagement and start taking those steps.
Awesome.
And then you're stuck with us forever.
So anyway, give Scott a call. And like I said, we're going to do some other, we're going to dive deep into some other topics concerning financial planning and retirement and the things that people need to know. So tune into those episodes. Thanks for this particular one. I hope people call you, because I know how smart you are. And I hope
Flattery gets you everywhere.
Give him a call, you guys.
At least get you a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.